All right, this is the reading of Excerpts from We by Yevgeny Zamyatin in 1924. This is a reading for Miss Woodard's class. Here's the context. Yevgeny Ivanovich Zamyatin, 1884 to 1937, was a Russian author who wrote science fiction and political satire. Zamyatin was best known for his novel We, set in a dystopian future police state. In 1921, we became the first work banned by the Soviet Union's censorship board. Zamyatin managed to have his work smuggled to the West and later lived out the rest of his life in exile. This novel is thought to have inspired the books Brave New World and 1984. As you read, take notes on Zamyatin's depiction of this future society, its values, and how it differs from modern society. All right, here we go. So this is excerpts from the novel We. First entry, Record 1. An announcement. The wisest of lines. A poem. This is merely a copy, word for word, of what was published this morning in the state newspaper. In another 120 days, the building of the Integral will be completed. The great historic hour is near, when the first integral will rise into this limitless space of the universe. 1,000 years ago, your heroic ancestors subjected the whole earth to the power of the United State. A still more glorious task is before you, the integration of the indefinite equation of the cosmos by the use of the glass, electric, fire-breathing integral. Your mission is to subjugate to the grateful yoke of reason the unknown beings who live on other planets and who are perhaps still in the primitive state of freedom. I'll go back and do the footnotes from that page. The first one is after the line, a poem. It's the first footnote. It says, at the beginning of each chapter, the narrator and author includes a set of key words which he thinks are important to the bulk of the entry. The second footnote is about the term state. In the sentence, 1,000 years ago, your heroic ancestors subjected the whole earth to the power of the United State. This means most translations use the term one state. This one, however, used the term United State. And the third footnote is about the word subjugate. From the sentence, your mission is to subjugate to the grateful yoke of reason. This is a verb. It means to bring under control, to make submissive. And then the fourth footnote is actually on the other page, but is in the sentence, the grateful yoke of reason. Yoke is a wooden cross piece that is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plow or cart that they are to pull. Here it is to mean servitude. All right, let's continue. If they will not understand that we are bringing them a mathematically faultless happiness, our duty will be to force them to be happy. But before we take up arms, we shall try the power of words. In the name of the well-doer, the following is announced herewith to all numbers of the United State. Whoever feels capable must consider it his duty to write treatises, poems, manifestos, odes, and other compositions on the greatness and the beauty of the United State. This will be the first cargo which the Integral will carry. Long live the United States, long live the numbers, long live the well-doer. I feel my cheeks burn as I write this, to integrate the colossal universal equation, to unbend the wild curve, to straighten it out to a tangent, to a straight line. For the United States is a straight line, a great, divine, precise, wise line, the wisest of lines. I, D-503, the builder of the integral, I am only one of the many mathematicians of the United States. My pen, which is accustomed to figures, is unable to express the march and rhythm of consonants. Therefore, I shall try to record only the things I see, the things I think, or to be more exact, the things we think. Yes, we. That is exactly what I mean. And we, therefore, shall be the title of my records. But this will only be a derivative of our life, of our mathematical, perfect life in the United States. If this be so, will not this derivative be a poem in itself, despite any limitations? It will, I believe it. I know it. My cheeks still burn as I write this. I feel something similar to what a woman probably feels when for the first time she senses within herself the pulse of a tiny, blind human being. It is I, and at the same time it is not I. And for many long months it will be necessary to feed it with my life, with my blood, and then with a pain at my heart to tear it from myself and lay it at the feet of the United States. Yet I am ready, as everyone, or nearly every one of us is. I am ready. All right, going into the footnotes for this page. The fifth footnote is from the term well-doer. In the sentence, in the name of the well-doer, the following is announced herewith to all numbers of the United States. This term, well-doer, most translations use the term the benefactor, and it's the head of the United or the one state. The sixth footnote is about the word consonants from the sentence, my pen, which is accustomed to figures, is unable to express the march and rhythm of consonants. Consonance is a noun. It means harmony or agreement among components. And the seventh footnote is from the word derivative, or for the word derivative, from the sentence, but this will only be a derivative of our life, of our mathematical perfect life in the United States. Derivative is a noun. It means something that is based on another source and is often lesser in quality than the original. Turning the page. Third entry, record 3. A coat, a wall, the tables. I looked over all that I wrote down yesterday, and I find that my descriptions are not sufficiently clear. That is, everything would undoubtedly be clear to one of us, but who knows to whom my integral will someday bring these records? Perhaps you, like our ancestors, have read the great book of civilization only up to the page of 900 years ago. Perhaps you don't know even such elementary things as the hour tables, personal hours, maternal norm, green wall, well-doer. It seems droll to me, and at the same time it is very difficult to explain these things. It is as though, let us say, a writer of the 20th century should start to explain in his novel such words as coat, apartment, wife. Yet if his novel had been translated for more primitive races, how could he have avoided explaining what a coat meant? I am sure that the primitive man would look at a coat and think, what is this for? It is only a burden, an unnecessary burden. I am sure that you will feel the same if I tell you that not one of us has ever stepped beyond the green wall since the 200 Years' War. But, dear readers, you must think at least a little. It helps. It is clear that the history of mankind, as far as our knowledge goes, is a history of the transition from nomadic forms to more sedentary ones. Does it not follow that the most sedentary form from life, ours, is at the same time the most perfect one? There was a time when people rushed from one end of the earth to another, but this was the prehistoric time when such things as nations, wars, commerce, different discoveries of different Americas still existed. Who has need of these things now? I admit that humanity acquired this habit of a sedentary form of life not without difficulty and not all at once. When the 200 Years' War had destroyed all the roads, which later were overgrown with grass, it was probably very difficult at first. It must have seemed uncomfortable to live in cities which were cut off from each other by green debris. But what of it? Man soon after lost his tail, probably did not learn at once how to chase away flies without its help. I am almost sure that at first he was even lonesome without his tail. But now, can you imagine yourself without a tail? But now, can you imagine yourself with a tail? Or can you imagine yourself walking in the street naked, without clothes? it is possible you go without clothes still. I'm going to go back and see the footnotes from page 3. Footnote number 8 is about the word elementary from the sentence, perhaps you don't know even such elementary things as the hour tables, etc. Elementary is an adjective. It means relating to the simplest principles of something. And then the 9th footnote is sedentary. From the sentence, it is clear that the history of mankind, as far as our knowledge goes, is a history of the transition from nomadic forms to more sedentary ones. Sedentary is an adjective. It means not migratory, settled down, and unmoving. Turning the page, page 4. This is talking about going without clothes. It is possible you go without clothes still. Here we have the same case. I cannot imagine a city which is not surrounded by a green wall. I cannot imagine a life which is not surrounded by the figures of our tables. Tables, now even purple figures look at me austerely, yet kindly, from the golden background of the wall. Involuntarily, I am reminded of the thing which was called by the ancients sainted image, and I feel a desire to compose verses or prayers which are the same. Oh, why am I not a poet, so as to be able to glorify the tables properly, the heart and pulse of the United States? All of us, and perhaps all of you, read in childhood while in school that greatest of all monuments of ancient literature, the official railroad guide. But if you compare this with the tables, you will see side by side graphite and diamonds. Both are the same, carbon. But how eternal, transparent, how shining the diamond. Who does not lose his breath when he runs through the pages of the guide? The tables transformed each one of us, actually, into a 6-wheeled steel hero of a great poem. Every morning, with 6-wheeled precision, at the same hour, at the same minute, we wake up, millions of us at once. At the very same hour, millions like one, we begin our work, and millions like one, we finish it. United into a single body with our million hands, at this very second, designated by the tables, we carry the spoons to our mouths. At the same second, we all go out to walk, go to the auditorium, to the halls for the tailor exercises, and then to bed. I shall be quite frank. Even we have not attended the absolute exact solution of the problem of happiness. I shall be quite frank. Even we have not attained the absolute exact solution of the problem of happiness. Twice a day, from 16 to 17 o'clock, and from 21 to 22, our powerful united organism dissolves into separate cells. These are the personal hours designated by the tables. During these hours, you would see the curtains discreetly drawn in the rooms of some. Others march slowly over the pavement of the main avenue or sit at their desks as I sit now. But I firmly believe, let them call me an idealist and a dreamer, I believe that sooner or later we shall somehow find a place in the general formula even for these hours. Somehow, all of the 86,400 seconds will be incorporated in the table of hours. I have had opportunity to read and hear many improbable things about those times when human beings still lived in a state of freedom, that is, in an unorganized, primitive state. One thing has always seemed to me most improbable. How could a government, even a primitive government, permit people to live without anything like our tables, without compulsory walks, without precise regulation of the time to eat, for instance? They would get up and go to bed whenever they liked. Some historians even say that in those days the streets were lighted all night, and all night people went about in the streets. I'm going to go into the footnotes for this page, page 4. Footnote number 10 is for the word austere, from the sentence, tables. Now even purple figures look at me austerely, yet kindly. Austere is an adjective. It means stern and cold in appearance, often marked simply or unadorned. And then the 11th footnote is referring to the tailor exercises from the sentence, we carry the spoons to our mouths. At the same second, we all go out to walk, go to the auditorium, to the halls for the Taylor exercises, and then to bed. The Taylor exercises is footnote 11, and it is referring to mathematical theorem exercises. All right, continuing on the last sentence on page 4, paragraph 20. That I cannot understand. True, their minds were rather limited in those days, yet they should have understood, should they had not, that such a life was actually wholesale murder. Although slow murder day after day. The state, humanitarianism, forbade in those days the murder of one person, but it did not forbid the killing of millions slowly and by inches. To kill one person, that is, to reduce the individual span of human life by 50 years, was considered criminal, but to reduce the general sum of human life by 50 million years was not considered criminal. Isn't it droll? Today, this simple mathematical moral problem could easily be solved in half a minute's time by any 10-year-old number. Yet they couldn't do it. All their Immanuel Kants together couldn't do it. It didn't enter the heads of all their Kants to build a system of scientific ethics, that is, ethics based on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Further, is it not absurd that their state, they called it a state, left sexual life absolutely without control? On the contrary, whenever and as much as they wanted, absolutely unscientific, like beasts, and like beasts they blindly gave birth to children. Is it not strange to understand gardening, chicken farming, fishery? We have definite knowledge that they were familiar with all these things, and not to be able to reach the last step in this logical scale, namely production of children, not to be able to discover such things as maternal and paternal norms. It is so droll, so improbable, that while I write this, I am afraid lest you, my unknown future readers, should think I am merely a poor jester. I feel almost as if you may think I want simply to mock you, and with a very serious face try to relate absolute nonsense to you. But first, I am incapable of jesting, for in every joke a lie has its hidden function. And second, the science of the United States contends that the life of the ancients was exactly what I am describing, and the science of the United States does not make mistakes. Yet how could they have state logic, since they have lived in a condition of freedom like beasts, like apes, like herds? What could one expect of them? Since even in our day one hears from time to time, coming from the bottom, the primitive depths, the echo of the apes. Fortunately, it happens only from time to time, very seldom. Happily, it is only a case of small parts breaking. These may easily be repaired without stopping the eternal great march of the whole machine, and in order to eliminate a broken peg, we have the skillful, heavy hand of the well-doer, we have the experienced eyes of the guardians. By the way, I just thought of that number whom I met yesterday, the double-curved one like the letter S. I think I have seen him several times coming out of the Bureau of Guardians. Now I understand why I felt such an instinctive respect for him and a kind of awkwardness when I saw that strange 1-330 at his side. I must confess that they ring the bell, time to sleep. I'll pause here and go to the footnotes on page 5. The 12th footnote is from the word humanitarianism, which is in parentheses in the second sentence. It means the promotion of human welfare and social reform. The 13th footnote is droll from the sentence, isn't it droll? It's an adjective having a humorous or odd quality. The 14th is about Immanuel Kant from the sentence, all their Immanuel Kants together could not do it. Immanuel Kant, from 1724 to 1804, was a German philosopher who is considered a major figure of modern philosophy. And then the 15th footnote is about the letter S. in the sentence on the last paragraph on this page, by the way, I just thought of that number whom I met yesterday, the double curved one like the letter S. And it says the narrator is referring to this person's or number's posture, which is curving like an S shape. All right, I continue here with the last sentence on this page and then to the last page. They ring the bell, time to sleep. It is 22:30. Till tomorrow then. And that's it for this excerpt of We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. It is public domain. The text-dependent questions are on the following page. I'll leave you to read them or work together on those. Thanks.